friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another this and that video. So let's get started on the topics of today. So one of the big things is yesterday I finally got up a batch of my own homegrown beans canned up. Now, though I've canned green beans before, they were the ones that I got at the produce stand that we used to have around here, and they were so good, and I've been out of them for a long time. And for the past several years with my own beans, I've simply been picking them, cutting them, and freezing them or dehydrating them as they've come in, because it was just easier to keep up, and I was concerned about being able to get enough at one time in order to can them, because I like having a full canner. Now, I did a video just recently about the beans before I was canning them and just talking about my favorite beans to grow. I'll go ahead and link to that video right up here. So basically this is an update. I did get them canned up. I ended up with, from the first real picking, 8 pints total of the green beans. Now the color may seem a little bit odd, and that is because I have some of the purple potted pole beans mixed in there as well. Now you won't really be able to tell by looking in the jar, because once those purple beans are cooked, they start out a dark purple, but once you cook them, they turn a dark green. And in here, everything kind of looks a darker green. So it looks like the purple beans kind of colored all the beans, but I'm totally fine with that. I'm so excited to finally have some home canned beans in food storage again, especially ones that I grew myself. I know that they're all organic, and I'm very excited about this. Now, because I have a pretty good size canner, I don't remember the number of it. I always have it linked below, the All-American canner that I use, but it can hold up to, if you're using a regular mouth pint-sized jars, it can hold up to 18 of these. If you're using the wide mouth pint jars, it holds 16, and then if you're using quart jars, it holds up to 14 of those, because you stack them. It has a special plate that you put in between, and you can do 2 rows. Now, I had enough to do 1 full row of just my green beans, but to fill up my canner, because I like to make the most of the propane, because I do it out there on the propane cooker that we have out there, I did go ahead and can up some black beans that I'd pre-soaked, and then I filled the jars up to about here with the pre-soaked beans, added the water and a little bit of salt, and then I canned these. So for the pint-sized jars, you want to can for 75 minutes. Anyway, I'm pretty excited about that. It looks like it worked good. All of my jars sealed, and you can see I used all Tattler lids on these. And I do have a video that I did on how to use the Tattler lids. Now, this is going to apply to the older model of the Tattler lids. I'll go ahead and link to the video up here, but keep that in mind, because now I found that if you go buy brand new Tattler lids from their webpage, all they seem to be carrying now are the Easy Seal. Now, the Easy Seal is supposed to work the same as your regular metal lids. Now, a lot of people get confused about using the Tattler lids, like the older method, but once you get the little tricks down, it's actually super easy. My problem is now is I didn't know when I ordered my last batch of the regular mouth, I think it was a year ago, because I was running low on regular mouth, and now I'm using the regular mouth a lot more than I used to. I ended up with some Easy Seal, so I have to be paying attention to which lid is going on the jar, because they all look the same. You have to look close. There was a couple of these that, as I thought to look close, that were actually Easy Seal. For those, I tighten them down like I would a metal band or a metal lid, and then, you know, can it. So looks like I got it all right, because everything's sealed up great. When I first started using the Tattler lids, I used to write on them with permanent marker, but because the lids aren't super smooth, it's a little harder to clean the permanent marker off these than like certain other surfaces. Even using the isopropyl alcohol and then rubbing it off, it doesn't come off really great. So what I do now is I just use a piece of Scotch tape. You could do masking tape, whatever, and put that on top and then mark it. That way you can just peel it off when it's done. But I don't recommend, you know, because these are reusable, you can use them again and again and again. So I don't recommend writing directly on them with the with the permanent marker. But you know, I've had some that I've got it off completely and some that I seem to have a harder time getting them off. But there's a lot of stuff here that's hard to write on anyway, so it's better to write on your tape and then put it on there, and that's the best way to mark them. Okay, now on to a couple other things. Now, if you saw our carousel package, we did the whole carousel. We started it here, sent it out with a whole bunch of goodies from our own homestead, a lot of handmade stuff and a few things that we'd grown ourselves. And we sent it out to, I believe, 8 other homesteads, and it did the whole gamut all around the United States and then came back to us. And it was really a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link to the whole playlist right up here so you can watch the videos from the beginning clear to the end when it got back to us, and that way you can see all the homesteads it hit, and it's really kind of a fun thing. But one of the things that we got back in the box was from Alderman Farms. It was a ranch dressing mix. Now, I make my own ranch dressing and I'm really happy with it, but I am all cool about trying other people's stuff, and this was really, you know, made it just a little bit easier because all I did was take 1 cup of my milk kefir, 1 cup of the mayonnaise, so you just make your homemade mayonnaise, put 1 cup of that in there, take your milk kefir. The milk kefir I like because it adds a little more tang to the ranch dressing, but you can also use yogurt. You know, I do that in place of using milk. So their recipe says to use, you know, a cup of mayonnaise, a cup of milk, and I, instead of just using plain milk, I use the milk kefir, and then 2 tablespoons of this powder. And boy, I tell you, it was good stuff. So if you have never checked out Alderman Farms, they do have a channel, really great people. We've known them for quite a while. We used to be all together a part of the Homestead Network back when that was going. Just really wonderful people that we've talked to them on the phone before, and I recommend them highly, and great recipe. In fact, I'm wondering, I don't watch a lot of YouTube. I don't actually watch a lot of other people's channels because I simply don't have time. But I'm guessing Patty may even have the recipe for this on their YouTube channel. So check it out. I know she has a lot of good stuff on sourdough, which was one of the other things we got, was a dehydrated sourdough starter that eventually I'm going to try, and I'll do a video on that once I do. Okay, now the other thing I want to talk about, I've mentioned it before in a couple other videos, but a lot of people ask me about the lids they'll see on my things like this, on my different jarred things, or over here in my different things that I like to use for teas and tea blends that I've got over there. Now, these are actually craft lids, and this one here is one that I need to deal with, and because it's a new one that I haven't used on anything. And because these are craft lids, I'm not really sure the metal that they are, but they're not recommended for food use. However, there's 2 things that you can do if you really like these craft lids. And as far as these ones, I will link to them below if they're still available. But when I first bought them, I got them for 1/3 of the price than what they're going for now. I was really shocked when I see how much they went up. But I will go ahead and link to them below if you're interested, and to these ones as well. But what you can do to make them food safe is really simple. They also sell these like silicone inserts that you can put in there that's going to do 2 things. It's going to protect your food from the metal, and it will also give a good seal on the jar if you're concerned about having a nice tight fitting seal because you're using it for food. But what I do, this is the other method, is I simply put a little bit of, I take the beeswax pellets, I'll sprinkle, you know, 3 or 4 of these into the lid itself, and then turn the lid upside down like this onto the burner or the wood stove, and then, you know, set it on low if you're using a burner, and just let it gently melt. And then you can spread it around with just a piece of scrap cloth, or even a pastry brush that you have dedicated just for using for beeswax. That way you don't have to worry about trying to clean it every time. I have a pastry brush like that I use for when I'm doing my waxed fabric for covering bowls and different things like that. And I have a video on that. It's another old one that's going to be dark, but I will link to that right up here. So anyway, that's one thing you can do if you like the looks of the craft lids. I get these for the sake of anything that's going to sit out on my counters, and I just like it to look nice. I don't like the plastic lids like this because I just think they look kind of cheap and boring. So that's what I do with those, just to make them food safe. Okay, and then speaking of this plastic lid, what I have going on here, and it looks really dark because it's pecans and cashews are soaking, because I'm going to be making some more pecan cashew milk for two reasons. One, because I want the milk, but mostly because I'm still at that time where I'm doing a detox diet, and when I do that, I like to go grain-free and as vegan as possible. So everything's vegan except for the only thing I'm allowing that's non-vegan is the honey. A little bit of honey once in a great while, but I'm trying to also cut back on any kind of sugars other than coming directly from the fruit itself for now. Again, it's just about the detox. So anyway, I kind of miss my cheese. I notice though when I take a break from it for a while, I don't crave it as much, and having the nutritional yeast flakes helps a lot. But sometimes you just want that more creamy texture of a cheese. And so I'm going to be making some vegan cheese as well. And so I have a recipe both on the nut milk, the pecan cashew milk, and the vegan cheese. And I will link to the vegan cheese right up here. And then what you'll find in there is you should be able to find the recipe to the pecan cashew milk. And again, also I can link to as many videos as I want down below. I should just start doing that anyway from now on, instead of worrying about putting the links up here. So anyway, the other thing I want to do is that when I did my zucchini video about all the many uses for zucchini, one of my subscribers came in and mentioned making an ice cream out of zucchini, and she makes it totally vegan. And I'm thinking that sounds really good. So I'm going to try that. Today I'm going to try a little bit with some regular milk for Mr. Rain and see what he thinks about it, because I need to let these soak overnight. Because I need to let these finish soaking, because I only just started it. I want to let them soak overnight. And then tomorrow I'll try making some with my own nut milk and see how that turns out. So I'm pretty excited. I just thought that sounded really interesting and a great way to use up zucchini. So if you haven't seen my zucchini video and all the many uses, even though this video is probably going to be out a month later than the date that I'm actually shooting it, you may still be getting zucchini in. So I'll go ahead and link to that right up here. And so you can check out all the many uses I have for zucchini. And you can see one of them right here. The main thing I like to do is dehydrate them up. As far as preserving and then using it fresh as much as possible. I have a lot of uses for fresh zucchini. And then the last video I want to mention is the Bentonite Clay. I just shot a video on Bentonite Clay. In fact, I'm wearing the same clothes in that one because I just shot it. So it will publish before this one, so I'll make sure I link to that one as well. And so I did a video talking about the benefits of Bentonite Clay and why I think it's a great item that you should keep in your food storage along with your activated charcoal and different things like that. And so check out that video to find out the benefits, and I will also link below to the brand. This is actually the one I prefer because I like the way it's packaged and everything. But this is the Star West. It comes in a bag, and then I'm just about out of that one, and then I'll be going back to using this other one. So, but I'll link to both. You can compare, but check out that video first before you purchase any of them to see what you think about those, and you can do your own research and even look in your local health food store and see if you can find a better deal than what you can find maybe in my links. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my this and that video for the week. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.